3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Sean, that's
Good
got to be
question.
easy for you because you're from the state of Ohio.
Yeah, but it's, when you finally get that Super Bowl in Ohio and it's not the Browns, really, to me, it doesn't matter who wins as long as I win my Super Bowl squares. I'll be happy.
He told me that earlier, and it's like, oh, so this is about gambling, right? Oh, so this is about I'm not even going to open that can of worms. I don't know whether you guys remember back in the day the Icky Shuffle. You'll have to Google it if you don't know what I mean. But there was
I
a
know it,
running
yeah.
back, Icky Woods. Any team that is Who Day and the Icky Shuffle, and with somebody as the swag of young Joe Burrow, who looks like he's 12 years old, but can throw it around the yard like he can. It's hard to root against the Bengals, man. So they're my sentimental choice. Even though Los Angeles is the home team.
For us, the Browns are 4-0 against Joe Burrow in his career. We've never lost to Joe Burrow, and this guy may win the Super Bowl.
Great, right? And of course, being from Houston, my house is 4.5 hours away from Baton Rouge, right? From Louisiana State. So
that's about how far we are from Cincinnati.
Okay, see, there's a huge Louisiana State fan base here in the Houston area, right? Because he's melting pot, right? But there's a huge Louisiana State fan base. So, you kind of have that, that kind of Southern thing, the adopted son, kind of thing, even though he's from Ohio.
I guess if I got to pick, I'd say the Rams. I think the Rams will do it.
On paper, the Rams are a better team, but man, my sentimental choice. And besides, the Bengals haven't won a Super Bowl, haven't been to a Super Bowl since I was in high school. So that was like 16,000 years ago.
Their best two players are their quarterback in the second year and Jamar Chase, who's a rookie. So, you're putting a lot on guys who are really new in the league.
Yes, which makes it all so much a story. Can you imagine the accolades if they actually win, right? Here's this miracle, so it's a heck of a story, right? And Matthew Stafford, right? Been in the league forever, toiling with the Lions, for all those years of dryness, for lack of a better term, to finally,
Yeah.
darn good quarterback.
No, I think it should be a good game. And like I said,
I hope so.
Two teams that you didn't really expect, maybe the Rams a little bit more, but two teams you really didn't expect to be in the Super Bowl.
Correct. Who would have bet at the 5, 6, 8 weeks ago, 2 months ago, that these two teams would be in the Super Bowl? Not too many.
Yeah, going into the final 2 weeks of the season, the Bengals were on the bubble of not even making the playoffs.
That's right. The Bengals almost.
Speaking of that, I'm going to tie this briefly in. Has there been a huge underdog, or it was a long shot and it just happened to work out in terms of a candidate or client that you either placed or that you can talk about without mentioning names?
Very similar to Cupid and recruiting, right? You would think that the odds-on favorite, if you're dating, right, the odds-on favorite to get the girl, right, would be the captain of the football team, the quarterback, right, that he would get the prettiest girl in the school, the homecoming queen, and go to prom with her and stuff. You would think that's the logical choice. And she ends up going with somebody totally off the wall that wasn't even on the radar screen, because that person had that special it that nobody else saw, that only she saw, right? That person had the only it. It's the same way in recruiting, right? Like it or not, recruiters do this, and it's human nature that if they were to submit 5 or 6 candidates to a hiring manager, in some way, shape, or fashion, that recruiter is kind of ranking those people, right? Like, well, if I was hiring the role, this person would be first and second, and this person would be dead last. Well, this has happened several times over my career, right? Several times over Sean's career, even some of the time Sean's been here, working on our team. That person who you would think is kind of like the afterthought that you just, throw into the mix. That person ends up just resonating with the client, and the client only has eyes for that candidate, and that candidate, by golly, it's a boat race, just runs away with the job and does great. And you look back and say, didn't see that coming. That person came really close to not even getting submitted,
Yeah, they go into that interview with something, they feel like they have something to prove, and the odds-on favorite kind of tries to coast through because they know that they're good.
Right.
And,
they know they're
get
pretty.
passed up.
Right. They know they're pretty. They know they're handsome. They know they've got the right stuff, and
they're used to just showing up and everything happens for them.
Yep. And for whatever reason, they stumble or they get seen through. And this, the dark horse candidate, right? The player from left field comes in and just takes
surprises everyone.
Takes the prize, right? Finishes first, gets that gold medal. It's nuts, right? And we coach ourselves as recruiters. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. Don't ever try to, overlay your little grading system. It's just human nature. Whether we admit it or not, we all do it, and we can be wrong.
Well, and I think that's where a lot of recruiters do stumble, when they hold back and don't submit a candidate because in our minds we think they're not good enough, and then we let them go, and you find out, a couple months later they got the job because they applied on their own or another recruiter submitted them. And it's like,
that has happened, Sean. That has absolutely happened on both sides of the fence, right? Where we've gotten to a candidate that another recruiter talked to 3 weeks ago, but did not submit that candidate to that hiring company. We end up submitting that person, and that person ends up getting the job. And it's worked the other way too, where we've passed on a candidate, and we looked at that person on LinkedIn 3 months later, says, wait a minute, you went to work for my client? Yeah.